I am Aleck, and this is Becky with me today.
Hello.
So this is A side and B side, giving you the webinar on advanced user tips for customization and engagement. We've been joking about having our lovers webinar, but it will not be such as that. This is a different kind of engagement, but we hope that you enjoy and that you are able to get a lot out of this and be able to go ahead and customize your website and use IDX Broker to its fullest capacity. We will be going into some things today that may not be in the milieu of our support team, like some custom CSS or some things like that. So here is my standard disclaimer that some of these things you may not be able to get support from IDX Broker. If these are way beyond you or you don't want to mess anything up, please feel free to reach out to some of our dev partners. I will have a link at the end of this webinar that you can use to go ahead and reach out and see if somebody can do some custom development for you or help you out there as well. Today, we are going to go over customizing your branding. That means taking some of the colors, some of the options on IDX Broker and changing those really to fit your needs and to fit your website. Because not everybody is a purple crayon. You might want to use different colors. Today we're going to use some holiday colors of some pinks and purples to go ahead and customize our site. I'll show you a little bit how to do that. I'll show you how to fix your fonts. And actually, one of our support team members recently found that not only can we fix fonts, but there's a way to add in cool and new and interesting fonts to your website and to your IDX pages as well. So show some of that. And then changing content for leads. One of the little known things in IDX Broker is you can actually have people that are logged in that have signed up as leads have different content, have different things available than those who are just visiting your site for the first time and haven't signed in. You can actually differentiate those people whether or not they're signed in, and then you can change colors, you can hide things via CSS, stuff like that. So I'll show you some of those hidden features as well. So customize your branding. IDX Broker is all about customization. We bill ourselves as the most customizable IDX solution out there, but when you get that initial setup, it may not be fully available there. We may have set up a wrapper on your site, on all your IDX pages to match it, but then you might want to tweak it a little further. Let's look into that a little bit. Here's a custom CSS section within IDX Broker, but how do you find out what to change? How do you adjust, say, the colors of that mobile first template to really get what you want? I'll show you some of that. So let's go to a basic search. And this one doesn't have the mobile first. Let's go to a mobile first page. Here we go. Okay. So you can see the background here is the green, the IDX green color. And then I have my blue here for what I'm currently on. But if I want to change that, I can use the inspection tools built into my browser by right-clicking and inspecting. And you can use Firebug, or you can use whatever's built into the browser. And I can find out my div classes here. This will give me a heads up as to what to change, what to go ahead and post in that custom CSS section. Again, this is custom CSS. This is custom styling that's outside the realm of our normal support. But you can go ahead and play around with these. You can change the fonts here. You can change the colors. I'm going to go ahead and change the colors of my nav bar here. And you can see everything has its own class. Everything is titled differently so that you can change it all separately. So I can go ahead and grab these, and you can see in here are some of my stylings. Let's go up, navbar, wrapper standard, etc., etc. So if I grab these, I can go back into my IDX Broker account, and I can go to custom CSS, and I can simply paste these CSS options in here and then change my colors. So here I have the navbar default. That's going to be that background there. This is going to be my hover, so I can change my hover color. I'm going to change my hover color to a nice pink in celebration of today. I'm setting it to important just so nothing in my theme or nothing else in IDX Broker overrides this, because I want this always be the case. And I'm going to change my color to a nice deep plum color. Now, this goes into this and styles your IDX pages. I have it globally, so this is going to style all of your IDX pages. And these specific IDs are for mobile first, so they'll just affect my mobile first ones. So I'm going to save changes at the bottom, which is very important. Now, if I go back to that advanced search page, you'll see that that's a very light pink. It's lighter than I expected. But my background is that plum color, and my hover color is this light color, and I can change that to whatever hex number I want. And you can change this if you want. You can change the height of these. You can change the font. You can change all this stuff with CSS just by inspecting anything on an IDX Broker page, copying those IDs, and then pasting them into your custom CSS section right here. Yeah, so I just copied the class. So I inspected the class here, and then I copied it into the custom CSS and then the global section, because I want that to affect all of my search pages that have the mobile first template. So another thing that you can customize, and you can customize all sorts of stuff in this custom CSS section, but another thing you can customize that actually a lot of people don't know about is you can customize the emails that are sent out. So when a lead signs up, when a lead gets those emails for updates for the properties, you know, they want a house that's between $500,000 and $800,000 with at least 4 bedrooms and a pool. Well, when they get those emails, you can make them different for your account. You can even make them different for each agent in your account if you have an office account. And for an office account, you can actually just go to Users, Agents, Manage, and I'm going to use my Isabel account. So I'm going to go ahead and edit her. And that's going to be in this Property Update section. And you can see, so this is how often you get notifications on those emails. So you can get a summary, and then you can set how often you get that summary if you want a daily summary of all the emails that were sent out to your clients or whatever like that. But then here, you can actually add in a subheader. So you can put, you know, Isabel offers you the most up-to-date information about the properties you seek. You can even add some HTML code in here to make it nice and pretty. You can add some images, anything you want, and then you can put a signature on there too. So the property subheader is going to be above, then it's going to give a list of all of the properties that were for sale. So I can show you what those are going to look like. And let's look at here. So property updates. So this is that property update email. So right up here, you're going to see that when I apply a subheader, it'll be up here. And then I'll show all of my properties. And then down here, it already actually has what I have currently as my signature. But I can update that too. I could put an image here. I could put a different email if I want, or you know, my agent code or ID or something like that. Anything I want right there.
Good question. Can they add a dynamic tag such as the lead's first name?
That is an excellent question. Let's see. Oh, first of all, I'll go to Agents Manage. Let's go back to Isabel. Property update. And I'm not sure. So, going. It doesn't look like that functionality is turned on right now here. You can send a sample email to yourself though, just to see what it's going to look like before you start sending it out, just to do a QA on that.
I believe the property update emails automatically pull in the leads.
You would be able to get that in your email account. You would also be able to see that in your message center right here. And it'd just be one of these, and then you could see what it's going to look like. So currently in that section, there aren't any variables. You just do a static subheader, and then you can see when an update does come through. So it'll have the to and the from, and then it'll just say, so yeah, here, the to actually does use their name in the to address, and then it'll just have their information right here that match their search criteria. So there you can actually customize those emails, and you can customize them on the agent level You know, if you just have a bunch of agents in your account, they can actually sign in if you give them permission and go ahead and edit that themselves too, so that everyone in your account looks a little bit different, is fully customizable. One question that we got this morning was actually how to place the omnibar widget on top of an image. Now, I'm not really familiar with the theme that they were using, so it's going to be different for everyone's theme, but we can go over the omnibar. Agent-specific branding is also possible on property searches, so I'll go over that in just a second. This one is specific to WordPress. You can actually use a shortcode, and then you can place that anywhere on your site. So if you want to put it in a div tag and then have that div tag have an image underneath it or whatever you want, you are perfectly welcome to do that. So each theme is completely different. Some of them have a specific header file where they keep the stuff at the very top, and so you could actually even change that file if you know what you're doing, and you could add in shortcodes or something in there. If it's in a widget area, that's easy. You can just drag and drop the widget. But if it's in another page, so let me look at the pages here, and say it's on my, I don't even know my home page is. So let's just say it's the blog page. And in here you can add IDX shortcode, which is the nice easy way here. You can actually copy this and you can paste this anywhere on your site. So if you need to alter your index.php file or whatever like that, you can actually use this omnibar. And you could even put this in a div tag. So I could put, if you wanted an image underneath it, I could do equals, you could do a background image, however it is on this, put your background image on there, put this in the div tag, then close your div, and then the background of this style would go ahead and be that image with your omnibar in the middle of it. So you check make sure your CSS obviously is correct. I'm just doing this from memory. And then you can put this omnibar in whatever you want. So agent-specific branding, yes. Agent-specific branding on property search pages is possible. So with that, again, it's in the Agents Managed section. Oh, I signed in as Spell. This is actually great. So I can go in. Does she have? So she can actually even log in on her bio section, or you can do it for them in the subheader. And so for Isabel, I have Isabel is great. She can change this again the same as the other one. You can use this WYSIWYG editor, or you can use HTML. See, I'm using Isabel is great in an H1 tag. But I can add images here. I could even add framed videos, whatever I want. And then if you add this tag, and obviously this ID is going to be unique to each agent, but if I add that to any of my search pages or any of my IDX pages, it'll put Isabel is great. So let me go ahead and pull this up. And each agent can do this. If you give them access to it, they can do it on themselves, or if you lock it down, you can just do it and have that available for them. But you'll see now I have a customized search page specifically for Isabel. So that's some customization information there. And that's really, there's so much you can do with that custom CSS. So one big problem we have, or opportunity if you choose it as such, is the fonts on your site don't always pull into IDX Broker. And this is simply because of a cross-domain issue. So all of the IDX Broker pages are on our server, not on your server. So when your fonts are available to your website, it doesn't necessarily recognize the IDX Broker pages as your site. So it doesn't allow those fonts because they're coming in from a different website. So there's a couple different ways to fix this. So these are basic ways just to fix that issue. The most permanent one, and that this is going to work on almost all of your fonts, is to actually modify your htaccess file. This is at the root of your website. If you don't know what you're doing, be really careful because you can totally mess up your website. But if you paste this code in there, and you can get all of this information on our knowledge base, which is support.idxbroker.com, you can find this file this information you could just copy paste into your htaccess file. If you don't have access to this or you don't want to mess it up, If you have font like Font Awesome, which is an icon font, it's used a lot just to put those little icons all over your site, for social or whatever. You can find a CDN repository that hosts those. And so that means that they have already basically added this htaccess file to their website so that these will actually pull into the IDX Broker pages. So this one's specifically for Font Awesome, and you can just copy this again from support.idxbroker.com. Just paste this into the header of your website anywhere, and then it'll load in these new fonts that should work just fine with IDX Broker. Advertising links would work fine in the subheader. You could also put those in a sidebar maybe, and you can actually use in WordPress, you can change the wrapper that you want to use on specific pages to have a sidebar, and then in that sidebar you could put links to advertisements or something like that. But subheader would also work for those. So one thing that one of our support agents here found recently is that you can actually use the Adobe Typekit as well to get additional fonts. So if you have a specific branded font, at IDX Broker we do. We have a specific font that we want to use on all of our web pages, and we have that built into our Adobe Typekit. Well, if you have a subdomain turned on in your IDX Broker account, you can add that subdomain to your Typekit. So as the example right here, this is a screenshot from Adobe, I can have my main domain of myhome.com apply that Typekit, which means all the fonts available in my Typekit will be preloaded and will be available on this page. But I can also add a subdomain. Now, it won't use the default IDX Broker subdomain, but if you do a CNAME record, you can put that in here, and then it will load these fonts onto your IDX Broker pages as well. And one other thing is you don't have to necessarily pay for all these fonts. There are free fonts available, so you can sign up for an Adobe account. You can use the free fonts, check them out. You can buy a subscription if you want to use more fonts or have a specific branding font. But the Typekit can be a powerful tool that you can use on your IDX Broker pages. And then changing content for leads. I know I presented this in front of our dev partners a couple years ago, and it was a feature that was hidden, nobody knew about, but can be really useful if you want to make some things available to all clients and additional information available to only people that have already signed up for your account. And that's because we actually use different CSS for clients that are logged in versus clients that are not logged in. I can go to an advanced search page and see right there, it's asking me to log in. So that's great. So I can inspect this. There's more information on this on our support.idxbroker site, of course. But if I go up here, I can see, so the div ID is IDX main, which contains all of the IDX content. But my class, the first class right here, is IDX not logged in. If I use CSS on my custom CSS section globally for not logged in, and then I can change it. So for not logged in, say I don't want, and obviously this is going to be dependent on the rules of your MLS, and we have over 600 of them, so I can't guarantee that everyone will allow this, but I can make it so that the price field, if I go back here and do a search, so I can have it where maybe this listing price is only available if you're actually interested in it, or I can change the address, or I can make stuff different colors, or add in text that says please log in, or anything like that. The point is that you can differentiate people that are logged in and people that aren't logged in. So I can actually do this div class, copy this. There we go. Boom. The price is no longer available. But if I was logged in, if I signed in as an account, as a lead on your account, to continue to look for properties, then the tag would not be as not logged in, and then it would go ahead and show all those prices. So as my example, when I showed all the devs, I think I hid like the address. So it would say the city and stuff like that, but I'm not going to show you where all these properties are unless you're really interested, and then I can take you on a tour and show you these places. That's something that's kind of hidden. Not a lot of people use it, but depending on the rules of your MLS, you can use that, and it can be really helpful. You could even put, extra content of welcome back, or, please sign up for an account to view such and such. Anything that's available in CSS, you can apply because the entire page is coded that way. That's what I have planned for today. If you have any additional questions, please go ahead. If you're a retail client, you don't have a dev partner, go ahead and email us at help@idxbroker.com. If some of these things are above you, or you really need some extra help that's outside of support, you can go to bit.ly/findyourdev. You can go ahead and do a search there for some dev partners that can go ahead and give you some help or build you out a new site. Thanks for joining us again. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Woo!